Just last week, I showed over 30 units for sale to 5 different buyers, and of those 30 units for sale, believe it or not, a significant portion of them had listed in the actual listing remarks, motivated seller, which motivated seller essentially stands for, let's be honest, desperate seller. Not throwing stones, not throwing shade. And when I'm representing the seller and they're truly in a desperate situation, I resort to the same tactics too. But nonetheless, there is a significant portion of that on the market, and I'm seeing it firsthand on the ground, working on the behalf of buyers, seeing listings every single day from downtown, midtown, North York, Etobicoke, Scarborough, really even the GTA. So in today's market, we're gonna take a look at some motivated seller listings that have to go. And as always, I can't stop myself from yapping. I'll be talking about the different buildings, different areas, giving you just some more information. Hopefully it's informative and entertaining. Before we get into it though, hello everyone. Quick note, my link is in the bio. It's easier than ever with that link to set up a chat with me. Many buyers have, many sellers have, many tenants have, many landlords have. So don't be shy, set up a call, let's see how I can help you. But without further ado, let's start. All right, we have the Realm system open in front of us. I filter very easily through just broker remarks and filter through the keyword of motivated. And when we do as such, we see a total of 268 results in Toronto. Now, of course, there's a lot of motivated seller listings that are not listed so explicitly, so this is not the extent of it. But as of now, the time of recording of this video, there's 268 units on market with motivated seller on the remarks. And we have the entire list here, as you guys can see. This unit in Liberty Village, 75 East Liberty, is a motivated seller. It's a studio plus one, listed for $515,000, 513 square feet. I would venture to guess it's tenanted. The unit is quite dark, darker finishes on the inside. The blinds are down in this photo. View of the gardener, but this is not the biggest deal. And also the train tracks. Once again, if you're living in Liberty Village, especially these buildings, you're kind of taking this risk on as coming with the territory. But at $515,000, this is a listing that has to go. Another unit that is a motivated seller, 20 Edward, is an interesting building. It's a building that I'm not overly keen to take clients to, only in specific circumstances where location is really priority in terms of being close to Yonge and Dundas. Otherwise, it's a pretty student heavy building. Not awful, you could do much worse, but it doesn't get me excited. Solid 6.5 out of 10, I would probably have to say. The unit itself in question has this narrow corridor in the entrance and has this, side wall kitchen. Pretty common for the building. This building has really cookie cutter layouts. Location obviously is the main value proposition here. We're looking at some of the photos, and yeah, this is the photo of the view, I suspect, which I have looked into applications on these properties in front of it. This is the SLC, obviously. This is TMU, formerly known as Ryerson, RIP. And these properties in front of the building are being developed. 61 Markbrook Lane, Unit 413, listed at $549,000. This one though is 800 plus square feet, yet another listing that is by a motivated seller and has to go. The reason I'm selecting this one, I haven't talked about this one on the channel before. The location in terms of the Mount Olive Silverstone area, some would call it sketchy. It's definitely, one of those areas where you go to a Walmart or a Best Buy, most things are under lock. There's actually some really good buildings in this area, mainly the Rowan Tree ones. Those are private estates with gates. So those are really good buildings. Not perfect fit for everyone, obviously. However, for a lot of buyers, I really like those buildings. 61 Markbrook is like the Rowan Tree buildings, but depreciated. I mean, you get the large square footage, but it's just doesn't have that much resale upside. And the hallways, this does it a lot of justice. It's probably gonna, here we go. I think this is better representation. In person, it doesn't look this incandescent, let's say, in terms of the brightness and the vividness of the colors. A lot of updated units, and this is definitely an upgraded unit. This is just a choice if you have no consideration for resale upside and want a low price per square foot, then it could be a good choice. I wouldn't recommend it, but some others may. Maintenance per square foot though, I'm always impressed, is very low in this building. I mean, it's very low. I mean, for the age of the building, it's quite actually impressive. Another listing that is motivated, a motivated seller, is this listing in 525 Wilson Avenue, unit 206. A 1+1 with 1 washroom and 1 parking and 1 locker, listed at $559,000. I really like 525 Wilson Avenue. Just bought a unit there last year for a client, and I prefer it over the neighboring buildings of Tippett, 8 Tippett and 31 Tippett. Good unit, and frankly, this is priced relatively well, quite fairly. And I'm not sure why it's not moving. Once again, it is obviously a down market, so a lot of it has to do with that fact. And I believe it's facing the courtyard in the middle, if we just confirm it. Yep, there we have it, the courtyard. A deal breaker for some, for others, they don't really care. Probably the den placement, I would say. They're counting this as the den and the entry, most likely. So that's probably one of the bigger feedbacks they're getting on this. But I think this is an okay unit in a pretty great building. Like it a lot. Well, it's funny how life works, because one of the other ones right next to it in terms of motivated seller listings that have motivated seller in the remarks, is what I was just talking about, 31 Tippett, unit 359. 31 Tippett is not a good building. I could be overly harsh on it sometimes. It's never left a good taste in my mouth. I think it, in a weird way, looks a little bit older than 525 Wilson Avenue, right? Although it's right across the hallway, or not the hallway, but the roundabout there, it's right across of it. I've had some long elevator wait times. I was there when the building was really new. It was not a good first impression in terms of what was wrong with the building then. Ever since I've been back, I've been left a little bit disappointed. Definitely has its fair share of problems, but it's a 2+1 with 2 washroom at $568,000. And obviously, once again, I always say don't judge the price, like just because it looks like a really good deal. There's a reason oftentimes where, you know, such a low price per square foot is a little too good to be true. It's either a little too good to be true because it's actually an awful building. Not that, once again, this is not awful. It's not good, but it's not awful. Or it's a fake price to induce an offer night or a bidding war. And it's been on market for 102 days. Running theme here, and yes, I remember this one. You see, right here, there is the construction site right across the bedroom. I think I might have actually seen this in person with one of my previous clients, and when I saw this in person, it was not this bright. I'll tell you that. It was quite dark. Which reminds me, that unit was at least transparent in terms of showing the fact that there is a construction site right across the unit in terms of what the unit is facing, but not all units do that. So to see what I mean in terms of misleading listings that try to hide their exposure, watch my most recent video where I go through an example of that. Probably should be somewhere on the screen right now. Another listing that is a motivated seller listing is this 150 Ordinance, unit 2411, listed for $799,000, a 2+1, 2-bedroom, or 2 washroom rather. Let's take a look at the unit first before I tell you what I think here. The foyer, oh, nice CN Tower view right there, very nice. Peculiar layout. It's not, you know, it's a little bit angular, and then you have one of these walk-through kitchens that is a bit common in this building, and that's about it. I think it's a corner unit, so it definitely does look on to probably either the trains or some stretch of, I would say, the road. Let's just take a look here. Yeah, looks onto the trains, right on top of the trains, but you have a very good view of the city. This is definitely very good. Most people would endure this train for the view. Now, interestingly, 50 Ordinance is a building with a lot of good 2-bedroom layouts, split bedroom layouts. This is not one of them. There's not split, and this is one of those where you have to walk through the kitchen. The other ones don't have that walk-through kitchen. So partially this is probably, in terms of layouts, the view is great, but in terms of layouts, it's probably not as good as its competitors in the building in terms of 2 bedrooms. I've seen 2 bedrooms, as I said, with better layouts in this building, and actually rank it as a good building for 2 bedrooms. But this is not an example of it in terms of a good layout. And then it's overpriced. It's significantly overpriced. In today's market, they have to price reduce. Motivated seller, you have to price reduce. Another building that is often coming up lately on this channel is 488 University Avenue, another Toronto condo for sale as a motivated seller listing. Listed for $800,000, $888,000. I think we know what the target demographic is there for sure. Now, the fact of the matter is, this is an awful building. Truly an awful building, I would say. And yeah, there's not much more to say. I mean, motivated seller listing, but listen, I would never take a buyer there if I had a say in the matter. Another Toronto condo listing for sale that is by a motivated seller as per the listing itself, which is this one in 38 Widmer, unit 4802, a 2-bedroom, 2-washroom, listed for $925,000. This is a building I made an entire video on. It's a really cool building. It's very futuristic, has a lot of high-tech options in terms of refrigerated food storage for your grocery deliveries, EV connectivity for every single parking spot, even visitor parking spots, even if you don't need it, comes with it as a default. Heated balconies for 95% of the units. Every unit has a heated balcony with a heater on top of the ceiling of the balcony. Really good. And a lot of other great features. Obviously the amenities are fantastic, and you know, smart systems across the building. So if you want to check out that video review, it's the thumbnail is on the screen. That video review was last year. Lately, when I went back, I noticed that it's a little bit too busy for my liking. It's still a great building, but I would probably have to amend my enthusiasm in that video a little bit lower. And ultimately say it's still pretty good. It's just they need to train their concierge a bit more. Their concierge seem to be a little bit understaffed, unfortunately. And then on the high end, we have this unit in 300 Front Street, unit 4802. What are the odds? The second time that unit number has come up. Listed for $1,650,000, 1,400 square feet. With 3 parking spots, right? And motivated seller listing, once again, another Toronto condo for sale that is advertising itself as a motivated seller. Let's go through the photos for a second, and then I'll talk about the building a bit. Yeah, really good looking unit by Tridel. Tridel is one of my favorite builders, obviously. The kitchen seems a little bit too wide. Not to say it's necessarily a problem, but you know, it just doesn't seem proportionate. It just seems odd. I'm not sure if I'm making too much of it. You guys let me know. This is obviously all virtual staging. Yeah, for 1.6, huh? Virtual staging, custom closet, and you know, shelving units. Obviously also walk-in closet. Great views of the city, apparently. Now, the photos don't do that unit justice, but it's a Tridel building. Tridel is absolutely fantastic. Let me tell you what the catch with this building is. First and foremost, that's overpriced. That unit is significantly overpriced, no question about it. But secondly, this building actually has the highest ratio of Airbnbs to units. Not to keep promoting my own videos, but you can check out my Toronto condo buildings with the most Airbnb video where I break it down in terms of the ratios. And folks, that was it for today. Just a couple of motivated seller listings, Toronto condos for sale by motivated sellers. Try to cover as much as possible. I can, you know, keep talking all day. Let me know if you have any further questions in the comments, and definitely for any buying, selling, leasing inquiries, get in touch with me. My link is in the bio. I'd be happy to chat. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.